What is it that could possibly link the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, and the Avengers, or perhaps Lord of the Rings, the Blues Brothers, and the Royal Canadian Kilted Yaxmen? Well, before we get to that, we must thank Adorno and Horkheimer for their culture industry. The pair first wrote of the culture industry in their book, Dialectic of Enlightenment, in which they described the industrialization and standardization of the arts and culture. In this, they discuss how, whether intentionally or not, culture has been monopolized and no longer holds any artistic value. Further, they go on to posit that this monopoly creates false psychological needs that it then fulfills, thus creating a self-renewing cycle of profit. However, they never exactly define when this is best exemplified or best demonstrated, apart from returning to a point about the butchering of Beethoven and Tolstoy for the purpose of film. As such, we must turn to the art and culture industries as we see them to determine when we can best see this demonstrated. This best demonstration of the standardization of the culture industry is probably the story. The book, The Seven Basic Plots, which was released in 2004, suggests that all media is based on the same seven plots. These plots, Overcoming the Monster, Rags to Riches, The Quest, Voyage and Return, Comedy, Tragedy, and Rebirth, have been used across time, the earliest example of which was an epic poem, Gilgamesh, written in the Sumerian language Akkadian in about 2100 BC. However, the relations between stories now are uncanny, particularly as we get closer and closer to the current day. For example, the plot, Overcoming the Monster, is about a protagonist overcoming some great evil threatening them, others, or the world, most often through battle. This plot can be seen in many movies from many genres and most periods in the history of film, from the aforementioned Friday the 13th with the evil masked killer, to the Avengers with many extraterrestrial villains, to Batman or Jurassic Park. Equally, the plot The Quest, in which the protagonist must go to a location or collect a specific item facing adversity along the way, comes up in many places, like The Lord of the Rings, the Canadian Kilted Yaxman episode of Ren and Stimpy with their journey across the Canadian desert, the SpongeBob movie with the quest to Shell City, and even Shrek. The relations between stories transcends the context and the genre. These are stories and plots that have been used over and over again, enough to be noticeable and enough to show the standardization of the art industry. We have created no new ideas or plots, and so the same seven are recycled through many genres and many time periods. Indeed, the only thing that appears to change are the characters and the aesthetic. The nuances of creating film posters that are distinct in their aesthetic values have been lost. Now, when a film poster is produced, one can be relatively assured that what is going to come out is going to be similar in content to that of many other films of the same plot and genre. It should be obvious that the color schemes are too close to be coincidence, and neither is the positioning of figures, logos, fonts, and relative proportions of all of these parts. As you can see, it is not just an individual case here and there, but the sort of similarity that would otherwise be called plagiarism in any other industry. Adorno and Horkheimer suggest that culture, or cultural artifacts, are losing their artistic merits because they are becoming industrialized. These posters show this, and how it has transformed in accordance with the complexities of their theory, and art is now a collection of the beliefs of those who control media using manufactured means to justify the perpetration of the ideology. Due to this, and the nature of the stories the posters convey, Adorno and Horkheimer were right. The arts are an industry, and have been for a long time.